You're listening to the Coop Homeschool Podcast.
This is your podcast for community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling. Hi, this is Mandy.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is The Coop. All right, today we're doing minimal prep teacher-led activities. And so what I love about this is that it's almost no preparation.
Yes.
But a lot of fun with you and your kids.
It's awesome.
So we're going to go through about 5 activities that you can do with your kids. And but first, let's do our scoop on the coop.
All right, I'll go.
Okay.
So, we did a Coop Beach Day last week.
It was so fun.
It was so fun. So we were out on the coast anyway. And so we brought just us 2 moms and our 5 children. And it was such a blast. Our 2 8-year-old girls, never out of the water.
I know, I love that. That filled my cup.
Yes, it was amazing. Never out of the water. They were having a blast. And then my son has a big aversion to sand right now, like to the point where I know he's not going to wander away if it means walking in the sand.
Well, that's why you have rain boots on.
Exactly. So now I've got rain
galoshes.
boots because I'm like, we're going to do this slowly, but we live in San Diego. We are beach people. We're going to figure it out, but we can do this gently. So we've got the little tent and everything and the blanket, which is fine. I like being out of the sun anyway. But he saw your 10-year-old son laying on his beach towel after he got out of the ocean. So he's warming up in the sun, and my guy just really wanted to go hang out with him.
So sweet.
So despite their 8-year age difference, my little guy was like, okay, I want to go out there. And I said, all right, let's do it. I don't even think he put on his boots, did he? I think he just let me pick him up.
Yeah, he did. He just, he
trusted
you.
Yeah, he trusted me. So I think he's coming around to that sand. I laid out a towel for him, and he laid down just like his big friend was. And was laying there talking and playing in the sand.
I think his little feet came up too.
Totally. And then they were playing cars or something in the sand. So he's like digging in the sand at that point. So just really sweet to watch, have that encouragement, and then watch all the other kiddos just run around and have a blast.
And to watch the older one.
Yeah.
What did the little one do?
Yeah.
I never knew where she was.
Yeah,
or what
your
she was
5-year-old, he's just kind of halfway between both groups.
Yeah. So, well, my scoop is that, actually, I'm going to say two little scoops.
Okay.
One, the real quick one is we just decided to get massages every year before the school year started.
Yeah.
Why have we not thought of this before?
I don't know.
Okay. And then my real one is Christmas in July.
Yes.
So July just happened, and we did Christmas in July. We had an advent calendar that was sitting in storage, and it was a Lego one, and they love Legos. So it was actually the prompting of the spouse. He was like, oh, let's do the Lego advent calendar for Christmas in July.
Cute.
And so we spread it out over a 5-day period instead of just a 1-day Christmas in July, where we normally will watch the movie Elf and maybe have hot chocolate or something. This time I wrapped gifts, just stocking stuffers that I would give them at Christmas, and it's an overload at Christmas anyway, so why not spread them out? So they got a stocking stuffer every single day. Cute. And they did they each got to open an advent calendar, because between the 3 of them doing it, they did 2 each per day. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so they had these little Legos to put together, these little figurines, and so now they have those Legos to play with. And then we watched a Christmas movie every single day. So that was really nice and relaxing and fun, and we talked about, Christ coming as well, and praying about it. And I didn't quite get to the carols, which is what I really wanted to do.
Right.
But it was just nice, relaxing, and fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so should we get started in our activities that require almost no prep?
Yes, that's the best part.
Okay, so first let's talk about read-alouds.
Okay.
So I have become way more committed to read-alouds in the past year because I listen to a podcast. And, as research shows, you are what you listen to, what you read, and who you hang out with, right? So I've been listening to the Read Aloud Revival podcast. I refer to her a lot, Sarah McKenzie. And just again and again, it's made read-alouds more of a priority.
Right.
But what I love about read-alouds is that I don't have to prep.
Yes.
And I know my husband, who's taken the lead on this, he will oftentimes listen to the book ahead of time just to make sure it's appropriate. But he listens to it while he's working, you know, out in the yard or doing dishes or whatever. So he's able to kind of prep in that way. But like I didn't pre-read the Narnia series because I had read at least one of them as a kid, and so I knew those were fine and could do that. And so it's such a great, enriching experience. I love that, and I don't have to do much to prepare for it.
Exactly.
And it's a bonding experience. So what are you guys reading aloud right now?
Right now she's reading on her own. Yeah. So we don't have a read aloud going yet because after the pandemic, our car time was gone, and that was where we did most of our read aloud.
Right.
So we would do audiobooks and we would both listen. I teach dance for a living, and so for me to do more out loud stuff wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
So my compromise was we can do audiobooks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
she does audiobooks still though.
Right. So she still is listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
She's going back and forth between a few series, and she really loves Goosebumps, which I think
it's so perfect for her. Oh my goodness.
It's so her. And I read some of them as a kid, but they weren't really my cup of tea. So they are hers though. And
she liked the Lemony Snicket ones too.
She listened to all of the series of unfortunate events. And then together we did Harry Potter, we did the Narnia series because we all did that together.
Tolkien.
And then we did The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Who we got 20 hours into.
Yeah. That's awesome. But you did all of The Hobbit, so that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so that's where we left off. The last audio that we were really in was we completed The Hobbit, we jumped into Fellowship of the Ring, and we kind of fizzled. So now that we're getting more time in the car, we just haven't gotten back into that practice because she has her headphones on and she just listens to what she's already got going.
Well, and that is a read aloud.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what I love about read alouds, there's so many words they get introduced to.
Yes.
And then really a good development of language that we don't even talk in really high, you know, we don't have a high level of vocabulary. At least for me, I'm not very articulate. So, you know, read alouds allow them to hear words they wouldn't normally hear.
Yes.
And so I love that. And then also when you are able to read aloud to them personally, like I know you read aloud to Augie.
Yes.
You're able to insert you into the equation and your ideas, and you can debate things and talk about things and expose them to ideas in a very organic way. So, and we do it almost daily.
Right.
So, and I wish I read aloud more to my 5-year-old because even though she's hearing Indian in the Cupboard and she's hearing the Beatrix Potter and she's hearing Roald Dahl and Little House, she's only 5. So she still needs me to cuddle with her, and I want to do that. So I'm now hoping I've just bought a whole bunch of books that are picture books that I'm hoping to do for all the kids, but really as an investment for her as well, and focus on maybe having that be a cuddle time in our daily time, and read those picture books to her and to the other kids as well. We just did a read aloud of Soul Surfer, and so what I love about also the read aloud is you can design a whole unit study around it. So Soul Surfer is about the 13-year-old who got her arm bit off by a shark while she was surfing, and you know there's a movie called Soul Surfer as well. So after Marcus, my spouse, read the book aloud to them, they watched the movie, you know, were more interested in going to the beach. I had a shark book with the anatomy of the shark that they all looked at, and I just said, here, why don't you take a look at this for a while and read what's interesting to you, and then give it back and pass it to one of the other kids. And and one of them actually brought it to me and wanted to talk about the book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like, is this bone or cartilage? And I was like, well, it says it's cartilage, just like your ear. Sharks have no bones at all. Who knew? Yeah. I didn't know that. And so so it's neat when they bring the book to you, but that all came from the read aloud, or I would read aloud like the Who Is books, and then design a whole unit around that. So I love read aloud because I just sit there and read.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. So, and I'm really excited for when I wanted to just point this out, when they're tweens, or even teenagers, that's a really good time to do the Harry Potter series.
Yes.
We went a little bit early for us, but I think starting at 11 years old is probably super ideal for starting the Harry Potter series. But when they're teens, I think I'm really excited to read aloud Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis and discuss everything he has to say in that book, and his philosophical discussion and the debate that we can have because of a read aloud.
Right.
And I think that's really good training for them in the real world of how to discuss these really deep, important topics like religion and why we were created and things like that. All right. So anything else about the read aloud for you?
I don't think so.
All right. Next is another thing that takes a minimal prep is a treasure hunt.
Yes.
Or an egg hunt or a scavenger hunt. Just some kind of hunt. And my mother-in-law is what turned me on to it first. She just would hide empty eggs all year round. Like, she would take the little plastic Easter eggs with nothing in them and hide them. And the kids loved them.
Right.
They weren't expecting anything on the inside. They knew it wasn't Easter. They just had fun, and then they would count them. So that's a really great exercise for, kids learning to count, kids learning numbers. And then you can decide to put things inside the eggs, and that would be the minimal prep. So you can decide to put numbers that they add up at the end, or pieces of a puzzle that they can put together at the end, or jokes. You did in yours, you did not yoga poses, but
activities. Actions.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really cool idea too, and they can do it with friends or just themselves. And we also had like a scavenger hunt, treasure hunt type of thing, where the first couple times I put out clues that kind of rhymed and were riddles. Basically, they had to solve to find where the next clue would be. Right. So that was me modeling this really fun experience, and then the older ones started writing ones like it and making it real fun and complicated and trying to rhyme as well. And so that was just a really neat learning experience for them, that just being creative and thinking outside the box for their clues. And then eventually it became my 5-year-old saying, oh, and we always had like a snack at the end, like That's a fig bar or a fruit bar, and then it became those yum suckers.
Yes.
So my 5-year-old, whenever she wanted a snack, she'd be like, can we do a treasure hunt? And I'm like, yes, because all she would do though, because she can't read or write, I mean, she knows sounds, but she would write M, and they knew that meant, since her name starts with an M, it meant going to her pillow. Aww. And looking for the next clue, and then it would say R for my other kid, and so that's how she did it, and then that's how they would get their snack. And they did that for like a month or two, almost daily. It was crazy.
That's so funny.
And the other thing is scavenger hunt. We've done that the first day of school, where it's like a photo scavenger hunt.
Oh, fun.
So that's really fun, and you say all these different things that they have to take photos of, and then they go around and do that. And we did that with our co-op that one time. We put together that photo scavenger hunt at the pumpkin patch.
Yes.
And like take a picture with a friend.
Right.
Yeah. And
that was fun.
All right. Anything else to say about that?
No.
So it's just a really fun way to engage them in creativity without a lot of work. And then games. So that's like the big one.
Yep. That's a fun one.
Yeah. And I know different games for different levels, and we have a whole blog about it of ideas. And for like the young ones, what I love about games is I've done most of my math teaching through games. And, Uno, they're learning colors and numbers and how to hold the cards. It's like the gateway to card games.
Right.
And they learn what skip means. They learn what reverse means. And so learning those kind of directions is really good. And then they know what a draw 2 looks like, and they see the 2, and they learn what a wild card is. So it's a really great introduction. And then like something like war, they're learning like, oh, this is a higher card or lower card. So they can learn that. And then like Chutes and Ladders, they can count all the way to 100 and which way are you supposed to go. And it was really fun, especially with my 5-year-old. I was much more intentional with games with her. And it was really fun watching her figure out, oh, wait, I need to go this direction because that's going up.
Exactly.
Versus going down on the number scale, Yeah.
I swear my kid didn't ever Took her a while. She just didn't pay attention to it. It's not that she didn't understand the numbers. She just didn't care.
Well, and when you go up a ladder, you want to keep going the same direction. You don't realize, oh no, you have to look at the numbers. So games are awesome because that takes, other than if you don't know how to play the game yet, it takes absolutely no time to prep for that. Definitely. It's just getting it out and setting it up. And then as they get older, you can do Fairyopoly. And I know my middle kid, my daughter, she practiced her reading because our reading curriculum doesn't have any practice. You only learn the words of that day, and you're only supposed to practice the words you've done. And you're not supposed to actually try and get them to read anything else. They can do whatever they want on their own. So Fairyopoly was really great because she's reading these words that she wants to read, even if she's not picking up a book at that time.
That's awesome.
And then they learn how to make change, and they understand money, and then it's another gateway to Monopoly, which is what they play now. So it's just, there's Labyrinth, which is problem solving. There's chess, which is problem solving. To me, that's really developing the math mind. And I'm sure there's plenty of research of which games do more for different subjects.
We really liked Robot Turtles.
Ooh.
So it's a programming game. And you basically create a code to get your turtle to find his own colored gem.
Oh.
And so the game has just different variations, and you can put different obstacles in the way, and you can blast through them with laser beams, and there's just different options for getting there to make it more difficult for more advanced coders. And so that one was really cool. We really loved Robot Turtles.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. What age is the best for that? Or developmental age?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on your child. I think it was best for mine when she hit about 6.
Okay.
But I think the age recommendation was 5 and up.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Ticket to Ride, have you guys played that at all?
No, but I know you love
that. And adults love it too. Yes. So as they get older, you really get to play the games that you enjoy too as an adult. And we play this card game called Golf.
Yeah. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's like an addiction. Like we play it at least every day. And we've taught the extended family, and we're going to do a golf tournament when they come into town next week.
Nice.
Yeah. So I plan to have some golf balls as prizes, and
that's really cool.
There's 12 of us that we're going to do a tournament, so that'll be fun. But what I love about golf is my son, who I've never sat down and formally taught integers, I never taught him negatives and positives, and through the games of Ponytail or Hand and Foot, keeping score, and Shanghai, it's Shanghai, and through golf and this Han Solo card game, he understands and knows positive and negative, and has never seen a worksheet on it.
Right.
Never had a formal lesson.
That's awesome.
And because when you do something in real life, it just makes sense.
Right.
So now I know when I introduce it. I remember teaching it to incoming freshmen in pre-algebra, those who needed some help with math. I took summer school, and I was teaching it to them. And when I was a traditional school teacher, and they had a really hard time with integers. And I wish at that time I would have thought to have done games.
Right.
But I hadn't had kids yet. I hadn't thought much about it. And now I know I could be a really great, math teacher if only I knew.
Yeah.
So, it's just games. Oh, remember how our kids loved playing that Dino Math Tracks?
Yes.
So, who would be, I think you were teaching my youngest. And so my 2 older and your daughter would play Dino Math Tracks, which is all about, not space value. What's the word?
Place value.
Place value. It was all about place value. And so they got practice learning place value without even knowing it. And they're 6 years old?
Yeah.
So it's just, games are an easy way to introduce concepts and have fun with it. And it's easier to be patient with that because,
everyone's kind of learning, or you can see what they're getting and what they need more help on. And there's families who consider themselves game schoolers.
Oh,
and it extends to even video games or apps, Minecraft for instance, and things like that. And so game schooling has become a new educational method philosophy, because there are so many opportunities to teach so many things. You know, you think about Scrabble and there's just a lot of opportunities to incorporate subjects into the teaching beyond just math or, you know, language even. You know, there's all kinds of really neat things, and especially problem solving and logic, and those are really important games.
What was that one that when we were camping, your daughter had, and it was like the long stick?
Oh, the sticks. I can't think of what it's called, but it's these different sticks, and they have different like connecting points. So they have different little ridges on them, making them balance oddly. And so you roll a die that gives you a color, and then you have to take one of the sticks that has the matching color. So it might be a really long one, it might be a short stick, and you have to place it on the balancing podium. And then you have to keep building off of each other's. And there's a few little rules, like you can only have one part of your stick touching. You can't balance it across two. But it really helped them think about how they wanted to do things. And when they started to really get comfortable with it, they would think ahead to, well, if I do it like this and I can get it to stay, how is that next person going to make it work?
Yeah,
you know?
I love that.
Yeah, you can kind of start to see strategy there, you know, just like you would with checkers and chess and stuff. There's a little bit of strategy to be had, although it can just collapse on anybody at any time.
Right, yeah. That was so cool, and it was so pretty.
It was, yeah.
It was aesthetic.
I will link that in the description.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a cool game. So that's just barely touching, even though, and there's cooperative games too, like Mermaid Island.
Yeah, we spent years playing those.
Yeah, and I love that you're all working, you're competing against the game and not each other. Yeah. So for those who are really competitive and actually have a really hard time with games because they're so competitive, cooperative games is really great because then you're working as a team and it's not about winning and losing against each other.
Yeah, Augie's almost ready for those. He's 2.5, so I think Sophia was 3 when we introduced them to her, and so we have them all sitting in the closet ready for him.
I love it. And what I love about games too, it's something the whole family can do.
Yes.
And you can do with other families, like when grandpa and grandma are in town or whatever, you can all sit and do that.
She used to love teaching everyone else her games.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, like dominoes, you can be 3 or 4 and get started on dominoes. Yeah. So, okay, so that's games. So we have read alouds, treasure hunts or egg hunts, games, and then we have the dailies. So I'm just going to mention those briefly because I've talked about those before, but that's almost no prep, actually no prep. Because
really, they're just there.
It's just a question of the day book that I have for the kids. It's a Mad Lib. It's a joke book. This year we're going to do jokes, and then Would You Rathers.
Yes.
So I'm going to print off the Harry Potter one you mentioned. And it's just a great way to have discussion about things. And when you're just sitting there discussing, anything and everything about life can come into play.
Absolutely.
Especially like the Would You Rathers and the question of the days. I feel like really... when the question of the days are asking about, have you ever been bullied, or what's your favorite thing, or if you could go back in time, who would you meet? And those really launch you into big discussions about life, and that's when like parenting can really, go deep. Right. And it just opens the door to great discussion. And the dailies are things you would just do every day as a routine, and my kids usually 95% of the time love the dailies.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and that's when we do our memory verse work and our catechism work. And
it's a part of that.
Yeah, it's all part of that. Okay. And then the last but not least is the time capsule.
Yes.
So the time capsule is really great because if you buy a kit, which there's plenty on Amazon, and we did this about 4 months ago. If you buy a kit, it's all done for you. But what we learned is I said, okay, you guys, let's get together. We're going to do a time capsule. I didn't really look at it much ahead of time.
Yes.
So I made scones, I set out fudge, I made it all pretty table with like flowers, and just made it really sweet outside. And my husband planned to be there for that time too. And so I get out the capsule, and 2 hours later, we're still not done.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, this is taking way longer than I thought. I thought it was going to be a 30-minute thing, maybe an hour.
Right.
And now at 2 hours, they're out. They're done.
They're done.
So what I thought would have been better is to spread it out over a week and do one thing a day. Like this day we'll get the objects that go in. This day we'll fill out the letters that we write to ourselves. This day we'll fill out the letter to one other person in the family that they get to open.
That's cute.
And this day we'll fill out like your favorites. It's like an about me book.
Oh, cute.
That goes in there. And then I even asked them, I came up with my own thing of, how about you give a gift to yourself for when you open that you'd want.
Cute.
Yeah, so I think like a pot holder that one of them had made went in there, and a rubber band bracelet went in there. So how fun. I mean, it might be completely deteriorated by the time we open it, but who knows? So they had a lot of fun with that, and that took no prep. The only prep that I did was thinking of other ways to enhance the experience.
What you can add to the experience. Yeah.
So we just talked about time travel in general, and making goals, and looking back, and how there's a time for everything, and there's a Bible verse about that.
Yep.
So we read that Bible verse, and I listed all out in our blog about the time capsule. So if this is of interest to people, you guys should definitely check it out. I talk about movies you could watch to go along with it about time travel. If they're not high schoolers, then you might need to veer away from a lot of those movies.
Right. Yes.
But
not ready for those yet.
Yeah. But it was just a really neat experience to do together. And the kids are still asking when we're going to bury it. I was like, I kind of just wanted to put it in my closet, but...
Right, I guess we can.
Yeah, but... So, yeah, it's just a really neat thing to do. So, those are it. Those are the 5 ideas to do with your kids maybe this year. And just know that you don't have to do a lot of preparation. You just have to be present and be there and enjoy the experience. And it adds to the academics.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so should we talk about our joys?
Yes.
So I'll launch into mine. It was just, it's perfect that we're talking about games this week because my 5-year-old never wins the golf game. And we're always like, no, don't turn over that card, or don't discard that card.
You're trying to help her.
Yeah. And she doesn't like to listen because the one time that we're wrong, now she says, see, I shouldn't have listened. But she actually won on her own for the second time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you know, when you play 20 times or 30 times in a 3-week span, it's nice if they can win at least once or twice. Yeah. And so it's really great that it just brought me joy that, wow, she's actually becoming a legit card player. And she knew this is -10. Like she's using negative, like she's using these words that a normal 5-year-old is not going to use, but because she's in the experience, she's able to do that. And so it just, brings me joy.
Awesome. Mine is kind of an ongoing series of joys, apparently, because my 8-year-old, she's been my storyteller. I talked about how she was taking her books and was making them into movies, but her new thing is taking some of her writing. It's actually her Pokemon fan fiction.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're there. She's taking her Pokemon fan fiction and turning it into an audiobook.
That's
so she's
cool.
been using my old laptop, and she's got GarageBand running, and she's narrating her writing, which is really cool. I love that she's able to do that. So I give her my microphone and everything, and so she's all set up, and then she's learning to put sound effects in there too. So she'll grab the sound effect clips from GarageBand and add them where she wants them, and break up the audio, her narration, so that the clip fits in there without taking away. And so she hasn't shared it with us yet.
Oh,
she's only showed
it's not
us.
Done.
It's not done. She's only shared with us the intro song.
Oh.
She has an intro song for her story.
Did she make it up, or she found it on iTunes?
She found it on
Good
GarageBand.
for her.
Yeah. Yep, she's the funny one, but I love seeing her do what she's passionate about, and she spends hours.
That's amazing.
Hours a day doing it, and right now she's on hold because I have to go clear space off of my hard drive.
Oh, wow.
Because she's run out of space
You
on
should
my
just
hard
get her
drive.
her own external drive and that
Exactly.
she plugs in. That could be her
Not
like
a bad idea.
her Christmas gift or
Yes.
her back to school gift.
I love it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. When are you going to plan a Pokemon day, by the way? Are you
Oh,
still
I need
gonna
to do one. Yeah, no, I need to do one. I'll put it into I haven't done my homeschool planning for the year yet.
Yeah,
so
me
I will
neither.
incorporate that
Yeah.
in there. We'll do
Yeah,
a
and don't feel
Pokemon
like you have to include us, but
No, it sounds fun.
I would love to. And
Yeah.
then I'd love to get my kids into something that your daughter's into.
Yeah. That might be another one where maybe we see if we can include the dad.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because I think my husband, Jake, might be better at explaining the game.
Oh, so
'Cause
he's into Pokemon.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind
cool.
of, it's, I don't know if you would, it's not I'm not a gamer. So I forget what it's called, but it's similar to like, Magic the Gathering. It's like,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's these strategy games and you have points and you have to
that's
keep
cool.
track of them, like, because you get better when you beat other people. So I don't know how that stuff works. I'm sure I could figure it out. But if my husband already likes that kind of stuff and understands it more naturally, I'd much rather let him do it.
You'll have to let us know some prep work we should do
Yes.
so that they can dive in,
Yeah.
so it's not all about teaching them the game. Like,
I think there may be some familiarity with the characters, so we
Yeah,
might
okay.
introduce a series to you, or
Oh, yeah.
it might be sufficient to just watch an episode or two together.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, and then they meet some of the Pokemon characters as we go. So
Yeah,
here we are
cool.
planning a whole theme day.
yeah, look at
while
that.
we're here. That's how we work.
All right, so is that it? Is that
That's
all?
it.
All right. Well, there's 5 activities for you to do with your kids that take almost no prep.
Yep.
But you get to be there and present and have an enriching educational experience.
right.